Welcome back. In this video, we're going to implement a sound or a media player that will run a little sound once the exercise is done. So we know, okay, now we can have a pause. So it will basically be the pause media player sound, so to speak, because we have a sound once the exercise starts, but we have no sound to tell the user that it's done, because that's usually what you need when you, well, are in the flow of doing the exercise, because you don't want to look at your phone all the time, whether it's rest time or not. You want to have a audio cue there. All right, so let's implement it. Therefore, inside of the exercise activity, because that's where I'm going to play it, I'm going to require a player, which will be a media player object, and it will be a nullable, and therefore we need to import media player as well. Let's import it, and this will add this import right here, and then we can go ahead and use it. So I'm going to play the sound once we are setting up the rest view. Okay, so let me also just quickly get out of this here. All right, so set up rest view. So here we are setting up all of our bindings, and that's where I'm going to set up a sound. So here I'm going to try and set up a sound URI, which will use a sound that I have in my resources. Okay, so you can use URI.parse here, which will, or URI, you need to import that, and then URI.parse, like so, and we don't need these extra brackets around it. URI.parse, like this. All right, and now we can pass in the string of where we have the URI, so where we have the audio file. And unfortunately, we cannot just pass an ID here. We can, however, get the resource from our raw folder. So let's go ahead and create a raw folder, which will contain things such as audio files, for example. So here you create a new directory and you call it raw. And then inside of this raw folder, that's where I'm going to have this press start MP3 audio file. Okay, so it will, you can check it out. You can also use any other audio file that you want to use for the user to hear once this situation comes up. So what do we need here? Well, let's also, by the way, add the catch block so that we don't get errors here. And I'm going to add the exception. And here I'm just going to print it on the stack trace. Okay, so now with the URI parse, we need to use our URI string, which means the folder where you can find that. So it will be on the resource : // and then our directory here. So the name of this folder. Okay, so in my case, it is eu.tutorials.a7 minutes workout app. Okay, so this is going to, well, it's not even containing app, it's just a 7 minutes workout. Okay, and then /, and here we can now use the resource directory in the sense of it's under resources. So r.raw.press start. So that's the file. And this is just where it is stored. Okay, so we need to pass in the entire string, which is quite a long string. So let me put that into a second line so we can read it a little better. So basically we are saying, okay, parse this URI file and store it inside of this variable called sound URI, which is just going to be a string. So unfortunately it jumped over. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so now that we have the audio file that we want to run, we can use it with our player. So our player will use the media player class to call the create method, which needs to have a context. And here we're going to use the application context as well as the location, so the URI. And guess what? This sound URI is of type URI because we are parsing it. So we're parsing the location and we can now pass this sound URI to it. Okay, so now we can use our player, which is a nullable, and we can set a couple of settings. So for example, I don't want to loop this sound. That's why I'm going to set it to is looping equals false, because otherwise the sound would loop and loop and loop, and we don't want that. And then I will use that in order to play the sound. So in order to play it, I'm going to use the start method. Okay, so what is going to happen now? Each time that we get the setup rest view, we are going to play that sound. Even though, of course, you could put this code here into the onCreate method and it would just exist there. That would be an alternative way. Then you would have to create this every single time and you would just have to play it in here. But as this is in the try block and we have this catch statement, let's just leave it there because even starting could cause errors. So let's actually try this and see if there will be a sound playing once we are going over to the rest view. So let's run it. And in your case, I think you will not hear it. Let me unplug my headphones. And there it was. So let me go again. Okay, once again. Okay. All right. So I'm just doing the sound because I have a directional microphone and it otherwise would pick up the sound. Okay, but the sound works. So we have the audio now and that is amazing. So we can now use it, and let me just check my onDestroy, because whenever we create these kind of things, such as media players and everything that can cause these kind of leakages, we need to also destroy them in the onDestroy method here. So if it's not null, let's also get rid of the player. So we can do that by just calling the stop method. Okay, so this will stop our player. All right, so this will just ensure that we don't have memory leakages. But other than that, I think we're pretty much golden. So our application is now ready and it plays a sound. So now you know how to play sounds, by the way, with a media player. That's pretty useful as well. And I'd say see you in the next video.